Okay, so today I have with me Eleni Batistas, and she is one of the vendors that we use a lot in our property management business. And in part of our series of spotlighting some of the vendors, I wanted to bring her on. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about her company, but we've used them for what, Eleni, like
6 years now.
6 years? Like,
Yeah.
feels like forever because they're our go-to HVAC plumbing. They're awesome. We're here in Northern Virginia, but the things you want to share are relevant to you as a landlord, even as a tenant, of things that you should do and look for. So I want to just introduce Eleni and let her tell you a little bit about her company. So we'll get to it. Eleni, take it from here. Just tell us about your company. It's a family business.
Yep.
Her dad still works, in it full time. So,
Yes.
So tell us about it and some of the history and kind of what you guys do.
Sure. So I am Eleni Batistas. I am the CEO of JBB. I handle the day-to-day operations for mom and dad, and I also handle all of our property management clients. When we receive the work order, I'm the one that usually calls the tenant, schedules everything, gets the technician out there, follows back up with Richey, so Richey can follow up with the landlord. You'll be hearing from me and or from Richey. We service the Northern Virginia area for 34 years. We service all of Northern Virginia. Some of our services are heating, air conditioning, plumbing, duct cleaning, dryer vent cleaning, duct work, and maintenance contracts, plumbing, you name it, we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are all of those things you listed are probably some of the biggest, like the most common things that you see as problems in rental properties, the most frequent things besides appliances and stuff, but you covered it all. There's always a problem. So if you had to say, like, I guess some of the most common problems that you see in rentals in particular, like either from lack of maintenance or willingness on the landlord's part, or things that a tenant just doesn't notice or they don't do, even though they've probably been told to. Like for example, we remind the tenants every winter to drain the hose bibs. We give them it, we even get you guys, they can even pay you guys to do it. We give them videos on how to do it. We will walk them through it, but still sometimes they don't. And you can't, there's only so much we can do to make them do it. That's an example. I mean, furnace filters, another one, but like, are those a couple of things that are pretty common, or are there other things that you would say that?
Those are pretty common. Some other ones that I would also include is actually having your dryer vent line cleaned. People don't realize the more we use our dryer, the more lint that gets backed up into it.
Yeah.
And that could actually cause your dryer to stop heating. You can also have your elements getting burned, or it's also a fire hazard. So it's very important, at least once a year or every couple of years, to for sure have your dryer vent line cleaned. Like you mentioned, having the filters changed regularly, and then not winterizing the hose bibs, is also a big problem. And there's also anything leaking inside the house can turn from a little drip into a huge leak. So we want to make sure that we get all those addressed ASAP before it turns into a major issue.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question on that dryer vent. So you mentioned like somebody would notice, like how would they know? I mean, if they weren't on a regular schedule, okay, so like I know in condos, they require every other year that the dryer vents have to be cleaned. But in townhomes and single family, there's no requirement unless an owner or, like puts it on a schedule. Because that's really kind of an owner's responsibility to clean it. But a tenant should be able to at least identify. So this is something important that if you're a landlord out there, to tell your tenant, hey, if you notice that
the clothes aren't drying.
Right. Yeah, right.
Or if you even see a whole bunch of lint when you go to clean out the little screen every time, if you're seeing more lint, then that should be also another little indicator that, hey, I need to get this cleaned sooner rather than later. Yeah. And we do duct inspections, dryer vent inspections, just to make sure that your line is okay. Because the last thing we want to do is to start getting pinholes in it because you have a 30-something-year-old line.
Yeah. No, those are definitely good tips, and those are good things that we try to put out there to tenants, say, like, to be proactive and say, hey, look for this, look for that. Because as you said, things that could be small issues, we don't want. That's a big fire hazard. That's a big problem, the dryer vent. But other things like leaks, if you catch them when they're small, then
they're small and they're resolved. But when you have a drip and you ignore the drip, and then the drip turns into a leak, and then depending on where the leak is, next thing you know, your ceiling's caving in, or you're leaking into the unit below. So it's better to get it resolved and fixed first than we have a major issue afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think those were a couple of things we kind of led into some of the other things. What about things like, I guess with a water heater, is there anything that you can think of? And I mean, we're talking specifics now, but like that is a safety thing that a tenant should know, or this something that a landlord should, or that a tenant should, I guess, pay attention to? They're seeing dripping water.
So we do recommend to have your water heater inspected at least every other year. You want to make sure that you don't have water in the pan or water around your water heater, because that's a good indicator that either a valve is leaking or your water heater inside is leaking. And then the next thing you want is to have water all in your basement and all over your carpet. Right. So we do recommend to have inspections done at least twice a year. Would you make sure that everything is working properly?
Yeah, and that is actually one of the things that we have been sort of recommending to owners. I mean, like, as a management company, our team, our property managers are not experts like you guys in the things that you do every day. They know through the job, they've learned quite a bit, but they're not the experts. So they know what kinds of things should cost what, they know what to do, they know who to call. But if there's like, you know, I'm talking about service contracts. That's my point. Like, would you recommend that owners get a service contract for these things? So like you said, you could service it, look at them twice a year, and just make sure and be proactive, so that if you're handling little things along the way, instead of it being like something big later.
Exactly. We do actually recommend owners to sign up for a maintenance contract, because we come out there twice a year. We do a fall inspection for the heating, and then we do an AC inspection in the summertime. We want to make sure that the equipment is up and going. You want to make sure your water heater is going. The last thing we want to do is have a tenant in 90 degrees weather with no AC, or, you know, in 20 degrees weather with no winter, and then with no heat. And then we're worried about pipes bursting as well as no heat. So, you know, you get two issues rather than just the no heat call. You know, we would come out twice a year. We would make sure that the filter is being changed, that it's, you know, it's not restricting any airflow. Any recommendations that, you know, we will pass along to you guys, so you guys can pass along to the owners. If we do make a recommendation, it's something that we see that is failing or will be failing, and let's catch it now while it's not necessarily an emergency. Just think of it like this. Everybody drives a car. You have to get the oil changed on your car. If you don't maintain your car is going to break down. It's the same thing with, you know, your HVAC equipment, your water heater. By not cleaning out your water heater every couple of years, all the sediment builds up. Would you rather have a couple $100 bill or a couple $1,000 bill for a new water heater? You know, so it's like little maintenance stuff that will go a long way, and it will have your equipment last longer than by not maintaining it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good example. I mean, like with the car, because a lot of landlords, you know, you want to just, okay, you've got a tenant in there and you just want to go, please, like nothing break. And you just don't want to do anything. If you don't want to hear from a property manager, you don't want to deal with that. But if you just budget and just know, look, this stuff is going to break. I mean, all of these systems have a lifespan.
Right.
They are going to break. So either you just cross your fingers and ride it out and just don't do anything, and then know you have a huge expense, or you take care of things along the way, and depending on what it is, it keeps the tenant happier too, so they don't have a lot of issues and maintenance to deal with either, because they don't want to be home and have to wait for somebody to come and fix it, and they have a part. And I mean, and the other thing too is, like you mentioned, like in the summer when you don't have air conditioning, winter if there's no heat, those are things that can cost a landlord a lot of money, because sometimes the timing, you guys are super fast, and you get there and you take care of stuff, but sometimes you have to order something, and that's out of your control. And so if it's cold and if there's no heat, we got to put them in a hotel, and that costs an owner money. So it's sort of just that, let's just do these things along the way. I mean, that's kind of what we believe is a smart thing to do, but that's going back
to
good advice.
Heat. Last thing we want to do, if you're putting the tenant up in a hotel, they're not going to be at the property to watch it. How do you know a pipe doesn't burst at the same time? So it's a twofold issue, especially when you don't have heat. So that's why we have to respond ASAP.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think, I think those are some of the biggest things that you hit on, really just like the HVAC and doing proactive things as a landlord. Because again, if you're a landlord managing your own property, it's important that you educate your tenant on what to do, what to look for, what things they should be doing seasonally. And that's something we try to do. But again, you can do some things yourself to help prevent problems. So,
yeah.
So I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. And I'm going to put all of your contact information and how people can reach out to you if they live in the Northern Virginia area. Do you service DC or Maryland?
We service Maryland, not DC.
You do. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll put that in the notes below this video and how they can contact you if they're around. But they are awesome, and they really, part of the thing for us as a management company is having great vendors and vendors who are honest, reliable, trustworthy, fair price. And they are all of those things. So we appreciate all you do for us, and hopefully some other people will benefit from seeing this video too.
Thanks, Sue. It's been a pleasure working with you, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. Same for us too. So you have a great day.
Thanks, you too, Sue.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.